Hi, my name is Natasha Tracy, and this is Bipolar Burble. Today I want to talk about emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is a wide-ranging subject, but the sort of horrendous example that I give that some people have written to me about is this. When you're with someone and for whatever reason that person is in great distress and you're trying to break up, and the person says to you, "If you break up with me, I'll kill myself." That's emotional blackmail. That's what that is. It's a horrendous thing to do to someone, and it's an awful thing to be on the receiving end of. If you leave me, I will kill myself. I know people have done this, and I know that it can be even a pattern where every time you try to break up with an individual, that's what they say to you. And so then you're trapped in this relationship where you feel like the other person's life is in your hands. And emotional blackmail is not just that. It can be very simple. It can be something like a mother saying to her child, after everything I've done for you, how can you not do blah, blah, blah? Or don't you know how much I love you? Things like that are like simpler, smaller examples. Also emotional blackmail. It's about using your emotions against you. That's what emotional blackmail is about. So when this happens, it's no easy feat to get out of it. Now, if it's something simple and something small, you might actually be able to say to that person, please don't emotionally blackmail me, or, please don't attempt to do that. That is what you are doing, and I do not respond to it. You can think of it with the "we don't negotiate with terrorists" stance, which is that when someone tries to emotionally blackmail you, you simply turn the other way and say, that's not happening. That's not how this conversation is going. That's not how we're making this decision. For me, that's sort of more like what I would want to do if someone tried to emotionally blackmail me. I sort of don't have any tolerance for that thing. But of course, there is more than one way to handle any problem. And certainly if the person on the other end of the scenario is threatening to kill themselves, then simply turning and walking away is not necessarily something that you would want to do or even feel able to do, and that's understandable by far. But that situation does need to be handled. And in the case of something severe, like a person threatening to kill themselves, that needs to be handled by a professional, because it's gotten to the point where a life may or may not be on the line, but whatever it is, you can't handle it anymore. The other person has proven that they can't handle it because they are literally threatening to die. And unfortunately, that's a situation that you can't handle either. A professional needs to handle that situation. So just walking out of the room may not be something that you're able to do, but making a plan over time to handle that situation in a caring way for the other person is something that you can do when emotions have calmed down, when that person is not screaming, when you are not screaming, when you're not both crying, whatever's going on. When that's not happening, that's when you can talk to a professional and make a plan so that you can get what you need. And if that's breaking up, then that's what you need. And that the other person can get what they need, which is safety, right? No one wants to be broken up with, obviously. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. And it doesn't mean that they can't handle it. It just means that in that moment, they're feeling like they can't handle it. In that moment, they're feeling like they would do anything to make you stay, which I think is something that many of us do identify with. We just don't go to that extent. And that person, unfortunately, did go to that extent. So try to understand that emotional blackmail, while horrible, is not necessarily something that the person intended to be horrible. It's more a sign of their desperation. And desperation at that level does need to be handled by someone who knows what they're doing in terms of mental health. My name is Natasha Tracy, and this is Bipolar Burble.